Oh, yeah. That's right. Here we are. Friday. We did it. March 29th. Let me adjust my camera so you get my full head. Okay. Thank you for joining. As always, a pleasure. This is a one-way conversation, but wonderful to see you, such as it is. Big week for my YouTube channel. We are almost up to 19,000 subscribers. 19,000. And other news, I had my first video go over 100,000 views. It was on Donald Trump not being a particularly great golfer. Do I know how to pick the subject matter or what? So great, thrilled, thank you. I will put in this chat. Actually, let me do it. I'm going to do it. Hold on. I'm going to do it real quick here. I'm going to put a link to my Substack. The politics one first is Chris Cillizza. Well, gosh, I spelled my name wrong. Sign of creeping senility. Chris, oh my God, I'm gonna have to start again. Chris Cillizza.substack.com. It's always exciting to watch me type, right? That is the political one. And the other one that I just started is called The Replay. This one is about sports. I'm gonna put this one in here too. There's that. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe for free to both of them. You also could pay to subscribe. Reminder, this is what I do for a living. I talk about politics. I talk about sports. I drink tea. So I need your support. Any little bit helps. Thank you. All right. Before I get started with your questions, and there's a lot of them, I wanted to say this. Who has for me a healthy lunch that I can eat regularly? Yes, that's what I need. Because here's what I do. I get up in the morning and I have tea, maybe a coffee, but usually tea. Then around 11:30, I get a little peckish, a little hungry. And I'm like, what should I do? Who knows? Like, I don't really want to go out because I'm by myself. You know, my wife doesn't really want to go out to lunch with me every day. So what I wind up doing is getting a ham and Swiss sandwich from Starbucks every single day. Every day. And it's not that good for me, I don't think. I mean, it's not like terrible for me. I'm not eating a hamburger every day, but it's not great. So do you have healthy-ish things that I could eat regularly? If you do, bring it because I need it. Okay. Let's get to the questions. Jake Snapper. I see what you did there. Happy Friday, Chris. Happy Friday to you. By the way, I should say Happy Good Friday, or I don't know if it's Happy Good Friday, but for those celebrating Good Friday, I hope you celebrate it, commemorate it. Happy Friday, Chris. Why do you think Biden's poll numbers versus Trump have gotten better over the past 4 weeks? Nothing fundamentally has changed about the economy or immigration. Totally true. Great question. By the way, I would add, if you have questions that aren't about politics, if they're about sports, if they're about life, I'm happy to answer those too. And let's see if we can beat, let me note this. We had 171 concurrent people on this by the time we ended last Friday. Let's see if we can beat 171. We're at 94 right now. Go, go, go. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Okay. Biden's poll numbers. So I do think, and I've written about this in my Substack, free plug, go subscribe. I do think Biden's poll numbers are a little bit better than they were a month ago, and certainly than they were 2 months ago. They're not amazing, right? He's not crushing Donald Trump, but he's basically pulled into a tie. Why? You know, I think the only big thing that happened that any number of people outside of nerds like me pay attention to is his State of the Union speech. A lot of people watched it. It was on in prime time. I talked about it was quite good. It was a low bar, but he looked sort of able, right? That he could stand up and give a speech at 9 p.m. on the East Coast and look like he knew what he was doing and could think on his feet and that sort of thing. So what did that do? I don't think that persuaded a ton of independents who haven't made their minds up yet. But what I do think it does do, is it got Democrats who are base Democrats, who are Democratic voters. It got them to say, all right, like I may have concerns about his age. I might want someone else, but I'm going to go with this guy. So I think what you've seen in the polls is sort of the Democratic base starting to coalesce behind Biden, which was always going to happen, by the way. They were never going to vote for Donald Trump. And I don't think they were going to stay home with Donald Trump on the ballot. But I think it's happening a little bit quicker now, and I think that's why you see his poll numbers move up a little bit. Because you're right, big issues. Immigration is still a problem for him. The economy, we can debate it, but like it's nothing huge has happened to change how people perceive it. So, yeah, you're right. All right, let me keep going. And Sanzi, why not class up the waiting room ambiance by adding audio of the Miles Davis tune? So I don't know how to do that. This is the short answer. I didn't know there was a waiting room. Let me see if I can figure that out going forward. Let's see. Chris Murphy 2000. You said your favorite channel is C-SPAN. Is that what you plan on watching on election night this November? So I wrote a big piece earlier this week on my Substack, my politics Substack, about C-SPAN. It's the March 19th was the 45th year anniversary of C-SPAN. It's just an amazing network. Like I feel like it is underappreciated, right? Obviously they run all of what happens on the House and Senate floor, but they run so much other stuff too. They run Trump speeches. They ran RFK Jr.'s announcement of Nicole Shanahan as his running mate. Weird. Earlier this week. It's just a great, great place. I watched the State of the Union there. Some of you watched it with me on a live stream. And yes, I will watch election night on C-SPAN. That is exactly right. Tara Reid, not that Tara Reid. Do you have a favorite modern day TV news personality? Mine is Brian Williams. Good question. I mean, I know a bunch of these people personally and really like. So Chuck Todd is a friend who I really like. Wolf Blitzer is a friend who I really like. Jake Tapper is a friend who I really like. Pam Brown at CNN is awesome. Kate Baldwin is awesome at CNN. John Berman at CNN. I mean, these are all people I work with and really know and like. Laura Coates is lovely. Do I have one that I really like? I don't think any one really stands out. I mean, I think when Jake says something, I take it to heart. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Or yeah, like that's something to think about. I don't know if that makes him my favorite, but just worth mentioning. Nick Bondurant, La Cheeserie to you, my friend. We met you at a Jingle Fest and you were nice enough to take a picture. I will always take a picture. Sometimes I take pictures of myself. Let's see. Shelly Winter says it's coffee time. It's tea time. This is a Venti. You can see right here. Venti Emperor Clouds tea with 2 Splenda and 2% milk. That's what I get all the time. Doesn't taste like much, but it's something. Mark Mirzajewski. I just think it needs to be really brought home that Trump calls for the termination of the Constitution while Biden is creating jobs and trying to bring back civility. Yes. Look, Donald Trump did in a Truth Social thing say, a post or whatever you call it, say, I think we should terminate everything, including the Constitution, to hold a new election. Yeah, he did. Again, I've said this before, I've written this before, but I think it's the most apt way to think about Donald Trump. So let me quickly make this point. On The Simpsons, there's a guy named Monty Burns. He's the old decrepit billionaire who lives in the town. He goes to the doctor at one point, and they do a full medical checkup on him. And the doctor says, I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is you have every disease known to man, including a few we didn't know about before you came in. And Burns is like, well, what's the good news then? And the doctor's like, the good news is you're perfectly healthy because all these diseases are blocking one another in the door of your body and none can get through. I kind of feel that way about Trump. He said and done so many things that no one of them kind of breaks through. Sometimes I went through last night, I went through some of the stuff he said about religion in the Bible. I mean, it's stunning. He was asked, do you prefer the New Testament or the Old Testament? Probably equal. What? He couldn't name a favorite verse. Like there's just so much there. But yeah, they're all kind of cramming in the door and none of them can get through. So that's what I think of. Emeritus, congrats on 13,000, Chris, and almost 20,000 on the YouTube. Yeah. So I just passed 13,000 subscribers on my political Substack. We are building my sports Substack, just started last week. So we're kind of grinding there. I think we're at 400 or 500 subscribers. And yeah, we are almost to 20,000 people subscribing on this YouTube channel. Love it. I'm going to keep making videos every day. I'm going to keep doing this live stream every Friday. If there's other stuff that you guys think I should do, and I know you've suggested reach out to some other people who have popular YouTube channels and see if you can get on with them. That is in process. So you may see the results of that hopefully sooner rather than later. So that is in process. But if you have any other ideas of what I should do, I'm welcome to it. Let's see. Shelley Winters. Alan Lichtman is looking for people to be on his show. He was talking about RFK. He says he's only an issue if he gets like 13%. So, okay, good. Alan Lichtman is a professor at American University. For people who don't know, he has this model that predicts who will win the presidency based on 13 factors. And he's been right a lot of times. In fact, he predicted Donald Trump would beat Hillary Clinton in 2016 when very few of us did. I will reach out to him. As it relates to RFK, yeah, I mean, to me, what matters the most is what percentage of the vote can Robert F. Kennedy Jr. get in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia. I mean, I guess it's interesting what percentage of vote he gets in Connecticut or whatever. But like, as it relates to the actual election, I think that's the most important thing. So, yeah, I mean, if he gets 13% in Wisconsin, it's a huge deal. If he gets 8% in Wisconsin, it's a huge deal. Sam, I wanted to get your thoughts on the piece in Politico about Joe Biden not reaching out to Republicans like Chris Christie, Susan Collins, Paul Ryan, George W. Bush, people who are not supporting Trump. Is this a mistake by Biden? And do you think an endorsement by George W. Bush or a Paul Ryan would make a difference? So, look, great piece. It was by my friend Jonathan Martin. I think that this election is going to be really, really close. Obviously, I think it's going to come down to 2, 3, 4, 5 swing states and probably 50 to 75,000 votes in each of those swing states, maybe less. So under that sort of broad umbrella, it seems to me that if you are Joe Biden, you have to do everything you can to get every vote you can. Like, first of all, I don't think George W. Bush would endorse Biden, but let's say Paul Ryan endorsed Biden. Unlikely, but possible. Do I think that would move like a huge number of votes? I don't. Does it have to move a huge number of votes to matter? It does not, right? Like, we could be talking, I mean, in Arizona, I think Biden won by 11,000 votes, right? We're talking about really small margins here. They don't have to move 200,000 people for it to matter. So I think Biden would be wise to reach out to those people. Again, it's all additive, right? It's just a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here, and then you win. So yeah, I thought it was a really good piece. If people haven't read it, they should. I think it makes a really important point. Let's see what else we got. By the way, if you missed the start, we're over 173 people. 173 people are on this live chat. Awesome. Most we've ever had. Let's keep going. If you missed, I'm looking for healthy lunches that I can eat because I eat the same lunch every day, which is a sandwich from Starbucks. Cyrene says, stir-fry Brussels sprouts with garlic, mushroom, onion, and seasoning. Serve over a slice of bread with melted cheese and a tomato slice. Drizzle with soy sauce or choice of sauce. Too much work. The complete habo. Hummus and sardines. I'm not going to eat sardines. It's gross. Sterling. As for healthy food, I really like Chick-fil-A's Cobb salad. Now that is an idea. Do protein for your hunger. Steak and eggs, says Ram F. Again, where am I going to get a steak? I'm going to eat steak for lunch? I don't know. Okay. Back to the questions. Let's see. Phil Reinhart, when you put video clips into your Substack, Simpsons, your 10 favorite baseball movies, etc., is there a copyright process to be followed? Does money change hands? It does not. So YouTube is public access. So I mostly just use YouTube clips. Almost everything is on YouTube. If it hasn't been taken down because of copyright claims, I assume we're good. So no money changes hands. Nicholas Delot. Nicholas and Candace of Beaver Island, Michigan. Happy to catch the live broadcast this week. We have been loving the content, Chris. Keep up the good work. I will keep up the good work. Thank you for checking in from Michigan. SD Guy 1234. Love your political commentary. Love your political commentary. Wait. Marcy B. Not really a sports person, but what did you think of the Diamondbacks last night? I did not see the Diamondbacks last night. What happened? I saw the Yankees come from behind and win. I saw the Washington Nationals get blown out 8-2. I saw the Baltimore Orioles, who are going to be really good, win easily. But I did not see the Diamondbacks. Cyrene Domagala suggests tea. Yes, tea is something I should be drinking in eating, I guess. Herman de Sherman. What do you think are the chances of a Speaker Hakeem Jeffries in 2024? Small-ish. I I mean, it's possible, right? That whenever Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin resigns, Republicans are going to have a 1-seat majority. So anything is possible. Kevin Garnett. Anything is possible under that scenario, but I don't think it's likely to happen. Again, a member of Congress could die. Like, it could happen, but I don't think it's likely to happen. I hope that makes sense. Defending India. Prakar from India asks, how much do you think foreign policy will weigh in the minds of voters this November? It's an important issue. I saw a poll on Fox News showing Trump in the lead on a poll on Fox News showing Trump in the lead on foreign policy. So, typically, foreign policy is not hugely on the mind of the American public. There are times when that's not the case. The election right after September 11th, 2022, even the 2020, even the 2022, 2002, even the 2004 election, were a little bit more national security, foreign policy elections. Does it matter this time around? So obviously we have Israel in the Middle East, and that conflict, and we have, sorry, I got the allergies are killing me. And we have Ukraine and Russia. I don't think it matters hugely. I really don't. I know Donald Trump talks about it on the campaign trail. He says, like, the Israel thing would have never happened if he was president. The Ukraine-Russia thing would have never happened if he was president. I mean, I guess, like, I mean, I can't prove the negative, but, like, it seems odd to me. So I think people are going to vote on the economy, immigration, and we'll see, but maybe on sort of democracy with a capital D. We'll see. I think that's kind of where we're going to land. Rob suggests I eat Marie Callender's bowls for lunch. Okay, I can look into that. Anubov C. If you're advising both President Biden and Trump, what would be your most important advice to each? Okay, love this question. I'm thinking on the fly, so give me a sec. So for Biden, I would say go out and look active. Go out and be as young as you can. Campaign a lot. You may make mistakes, you may screw stuff up, you may fall. Well, hopefully he doesn't fall, but you may look your age at some points. That's okay. You have to show people that you're up to this job, which, by the way, I think is what Biden is doing. So, he was in 5 states last week campaigning. He did this big event in New York City last night with Stephen Colbert and Barack Obama. And so, he is doing some. DirecTV is calling me. Don't know why. He is doing some of this stuff. I think that's smart. So for Trump, I mean, he will never follow it. My advice for Trump would be try to make the election about Joe Biden, not yourself, right? Try to keep the focus on Biden, on immigration, on the economy, on his age. Don't give him fodder to make it about you. But Trump is Trump. He's not going to do that, right? It's always going to be about him. So that's the thing. Let's see. Marcy B says, mash up some chickpeas and add what you'd add to tuna. Make a sandwich. Make several servings. I hate tuna. I like chicken salad. I hate tuna salad. Sorry. Randy B, turkey and cranberry sauce. It's not just for the holidays anymore. But is that good for me? I don't know. Rich Adams. Hey, Chris, loving the live streams. I'm hearing that the RNC is having challenges with overall organization. Is this true? And if so, how bad is it? And what effect does that do to our politics? So they got rid of a lot of people at the RNC. So Trump got rid of Ronna Romney McDaniel. You may have heard of her. They got rid of a bunch of, I keep banging my microphone. Sorry. They got rid of a bunch of staffers at the RNC. I think that means there's going to be some organizational issues. It's going to take them time to build up those organizations. The other issue is they don't have as much money as the Democrats do. They just don't. Biden has more than twice as much cash on hand as Trump. The DNC has more money than the RNC. So you have to finance these organizations. They don't come cheap, right? It costs money to build organizations in swing states. Do I think Trump will ultimately have enough money to build real organizations? I do, right? It's the presidential race. If any race is going to get the money, it's going to be a presidential race. But I think that Biden's organizations right now are better. I do. Let's see. Phil Reinhart, what does my family think about what I've been doing the past year? Great question. My kids are 15 and 11. They don't care. They're very focused on themselves. As long as I drop them off at the right time at their practices, they don't care. I think my wife is generally supportive of it. Obviously, it's a little bit more unpredictable than what I was doing before. Like I had a salary at CNN, so I knew exactly how much was coming in every month-ish. So it's a little more unpredictable. I think I'm having more fun. I'm happier. Even with that unpredictability, which is kind of stressful to be honest. So I think she's supportive of it. I mean, I'm trying to, I will say, I mean, I don't want to beg here, but I'm trying to find ways to make it all add up. So the Substack newsletters, the YouTube, I got a couple other things sort of kicking around. One is going to be a podcast, just so you know, I'm going to be doing a podcast. Can I make all that add up to enough? How much is enough? How much is your freedom? Right. How much is being able to get up every morning, write and talk about whatever you want and find an audience? How much is that worth? I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm trying to figure that out. I continue to try to figure it out. By the way, 192 people on the live stream. That's awesome. Thank you all. But it's a really good question. DB just wrote correspondence dinner. I will not be going this year unless someone invites me. I am going to write about it. So stay tuned. The correspondence dinner is next month, early April. So stay tuned. RSC asks, hi, Chris, what is the threat? What threat does RFK represent to Biden's numbers in the key battleground states in November? So we're not totally there yet. Again, because he's not on the ballot in all these places. One of the things you got to remember is when you're running as a third-party candidate, the key challenge, at least at the start, is to get on the ballot. Every state has different ballot rules on how you get on, how many signatures you need, where they need to come from, but when they need to be in. And it costs a ton of money, and it's hard. Which is what, by the way, one of the reasons Nicole Shanahan is RFK Jr.'s running mate, because she's worth a lot of money and she's willing to spend it. So that helps him fund this. So until we 200 people on the live stream, until we know what ballots he's on, and I'm assuming he's going to be on a bunch of ballots, but until we know, I don't think we know what effect he's going to have. If he continues to get somewhere between 8 and 13% nationally, and he is on these swing state ballots, I think we need to take his impact really seriously, more seriously than we've been taking it. Because 8%, even 8%, which is kind of his low mark right now, 8% is a big deal. That would be the strongest showing, I believe, since Ross Perot in 1996, which is a big deal. So we need to talk more about it. Nicholas Delat says, Fareed Zakaria is someone I'd love to have a conversation with. You know what? Fareed was in New York, and I was in D.C. when we were at CNN together. And so I never met him. And he does like foreign policy, so I was never really on the show because I was doing politics. But I hear great things. So anyway, Tammy Cochran, love to hear your thoughts on the RNC, including the do you believe the 2020 election was stolen question in all interviews. This fills all spots with people who are either deluded or lying, right? So it is not surprising to me at all that the RNC is now asking new hires whether or not they believe the election is stolen. This is the natural consequence of Donald Trump making that question a litmus test for being a Republican, right? You can't be in the Trump circle or in the Trump world unless you say the election is stolen. Now, whether you believe that or not, you have to be willing to say it. If you say it is not stolen and Joe Biden won, you are a rhino and cast out and to be targeted. You're basically no better than a Democrat. So does it surprise me? No, because Trump made this a litmus test within the party. Is it incredibly detrimental to democracy? Yes, absolutely. There is no question about that. This is a bad thing. You should not have one party making as the sort of bar, the key to get in the door being saying something that is not true. I'm no genius, but I think that's a problem. DB says they're chanting boo earns. I was chanting boo earns. Boo earns. Exactly. Graybeard Bass suggests I eat a can of chili. I guess. Terry Height suggests I eat healthy choice bowls. I guess. Healthy choice. I could do that. Avery Neal says a good black, Irish, or Welsh tea. I mean, I guess, but man, I got to be honest. I'm not sure that's going to fill me up. Like I'm drinking this like crazy, but it's not working. Okay, this one's good. Evil Genius 007. Lunch option. Hummus, pre-made or make one time a week. Baby carrots, pita chips, olives. I could do that. Sham says using clips on YouTube usually should be allowed because of fair use exception of copyright allows. Exactly right. That's what I was looking. Fair use is the word I was looking for that I couldn't come across. By the way, for people wondering, let me reset because we're 25 minutes in. We are almost at 20,000 subscribers to this YouTube channel. That is amazing to me. We were at like 4,500 a month and 2 months ago. So we are on a roll. Let's keep it up. I put at the top of this chat links to my political newsletter and my sports newsletter. I would love for you to subscribe to both. or one. I would love to, there's free content on both. I would love for you to be a paid subscriber. It's $5 a month to either one, or $50 a year. As I said, any little bit helps. I'm currently trying to make my way as an independent content creator, right? So I'm writing, I'm talking, going on podcasts, I'm starting a podcast, doing all those sorts of things. So any little bit helps. Thank you. Point 2 is I need to eat healthier for lunch. I eat the same lunch every day, which is a Starbucks ham and cheese sandwich, and I need to shake it up. Let's see. Maxime Fauget says people will also vote on abortion. Yes. I should have pointed that out. So I think and when you said the question earlier was, what advice would I give to Biden? And I said he needs to be active and show that he's out there and campaigning and can do it. The other thing I would say is talk a lot about abortion and Roe v. Wade being overturned and the state laws being passed in many of these Republican states. Women have made up a majority of the electorate since 1996. Biden won them strongly in 2020. It's one of the main reasons he won. I think that issue is a huge problem for Republicans. I mean, look, if you didn't think it was a huge problem for Republicans, look at how they scrambled to get away from the Alabama Supreme Court saying frozen embryos were lives, or embryos were living people. The state legislature, which is incredibly conservative, passed something to say, well, we think IVF is just fine. Donald Trump came out and said IVF is great. They know it's an issue. They know it's a problem. So yeah, I agree. Biden should talk a lot about that. I think that's a huge thing. Let's see. Joshua Parks, does the election come down to Pennsylvania? I can't see Trump winning without carrying PA. Also, can you comment on the post-Dobbs Dem bump? So yes, Dobbs I talked about. I think it's abortion is a huge issue, and it is a very good issue politically for Democrats and a terrible issue for Republicans, period, full stop. The more this election is a referendum on abortion and abortion policies of the two parties, the better chance Joe Biden and Democrats win. Pennsylvania in particular. Yeah, if I had to pick one state, one state, where's my thumb? Maybe I screwed it up. I would pick Pennsylvania. Trump won it in 2016. Biden won it in 2020. I don't think it's a coincidence that Trump won in 2016 and Biden won in 2020. It's a big state with a lot of electoral college votes. I think that's my 1 seed. Since we're in NCAA tournament time, my 2 seed would probably be Wisconsin. 3 would be Michigan. 4 would be Arizona. 5 would be Georgia. 6 would be North Carolina. I think that's the order I would go in. Gecko194, I love leftover turkey for turkey salad sandwiches. Turkey salad, eh? Oh, Marcy B says, chickpeas instead of tuna, put what you'd put into tuna or chicken salad. I could do that. So I just mash up some chickpeas. So it sounds like I should be eating a lot more chickpeas. Hummus or chickpeas. Okay. Theo Warner, here's a question. What empirical facts can you point to about the crisis at the border? To me, it seems like people just say crisis, but there are no agreed upon facts. So I wanted to, I was listening to, this is apropos of nothing, but I think it'll work, or it'll make sense. I really like the Freakonomics podcast. It's Stephen Dubner. You know, they wrote the book Freakonomics a long time ago. They turned it into a podcast. So there was an episode, I think it's this week, but recently, I was listening to it this week on immigration. And it's just about, here are the facts about immigration. It's very even-handed. It's very fair. I think, and I would recommend it. It's terrific. Like, it's not, you're not going to get angry. It's like, here's how the situation is. Here's how it was. Here's how we got here, etc. I do think that our border is less than secure as it relates to people coming in illegally. Do I think it is a crisis? I mean, that's just a word, right? Like, it's not like we have a, well, if 20,000 people come in, it's a crisis, but if 10,000 people come in, it's just a situation, right? I mean, it's just a word that we choose to describe it. You don't have to call it that. I think calling it an invasion is pretty loaded, like Donald Trump does. I think Joe Biden and his people, politically speaking, believe they have to do something to address the situation at the border, whatever we want to call it. So I think it is an issue. I don't know whether we should call it a crisis or not, but I do think it's an issue. Okay. Quentin Harvey. Hey, Chris, I'm in a slump in my career and struggling to get a high-paying job. Can you tell us about your success now you made it? Here's the short version. I'm not sure about my success, but here's the short version. I worked for Charlie Cook out of college, political handicapper. I went to work for Roll Call newspaper. Then I worked for the Washington Post for 12 years, and then worked for CNN for 5 years. Then I was laid off in December 2022 from CNN. Since that time, I've built a Substack, a politics Substack, which has 13,000 subscribers. Pretty good. I've built this YouTube channel, which has almost 20,000 subscribers. Pretty good. I'm going to launch a podcast. I'm in talks to do some other content stuff around politics and sports. What I would say is, generally speaking, if you can find an audience, you can make something like this work. Be yourself, be authentic, talk about what you know about, admit when you don't know the answer to something, be passionate, whatever you're doing, whether it's content creation or something else, be passionate about it, love what you're doing, make sure that love comes through. I mean, the one thing I always say is you can't fake passion. So you guys know I'm passionate about this, right? Because you can see it in my face, in the way I talk about it, in the way I think about it. You can't fake that. So find something that you can be passionate about, and then try to make that work. That's what I'm doing. You know, I didn't plan my career arc. I didn't plan for it to be laid off at CNN in 2022, but that's what happened. So we move on. We figure out what other opportunities are there. We figure out maybe being an individual content creator could work. Let's try it. That's what I'm doing. I need you guys, though, to subscribe. Let's see. Let's keep going. Keegan Witt, why do you think consumer sentiment does not match up with how the economy is actually performing? Recently, I heard Fareed Zakaria say if Britain was a state, it would be the poorest state in the U.S. A lot of Fareed mentions on this podcast, on this live stream. You are absolutely right. Perception of the economy and reality of the economy are often not in alignment. And I think that's mostly the case right now. So GDP, CPI, unemployment rate, all of these things, inflation broadly, all these things appear to be headed in the right direction, downward, right? But I think people still, although it might be fading a little bit, but people still are like, it costs a lot to get gas. It costs more than it used to do to buy my groceries at the grocery store. So I think people are still kind of feeling that inflation, even if sort of the broad indicators that are, 50,000 feet in the sky, not like, oh, I'm going to buy this orange and it costs more than it used to. Even though the broad indicators sort of are in the right direction, 210 people on the live stream. Love it. So even though the broad sort of economic indicators look good, I still think people are a little uneasy. In 6 months, might that be different? I think it might be. I think if you continue to have positive economic growth, I think people will start to feel better about going out and spending their money. Buy a house, mortgage rates maybe come down some, buy a house, buy a car. And then that feeds on itself, right? And perception changes. But you're right. The perception of the economy is that it is weaker, maybe considerably weaker than the reality in terms of the leading indicators we use to measure economic strength would suggest. Okay. Ann Sanzi says, wait, hold on. Dang it. I scrolled. Hold on. I just got to scroll back. Got a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of people saying eat hummus on pita. Okay. Ann Sensei, me too. I quit my job a couple months ago and had the goal of reading all of Shakespeare over the next year before going back to work again. Man, what a worthy goal. I am trying to read all of the New York Times best fiction of 2023 list. There are 5 books. I'm through 4.5 of them. I wrote about it, about reading fiction again. Yeah, it's always good to have a goal. That's the other thing I should have said. Have a goal. Like my first goal when I started this was I'm going to see if I can get 1,000 subscribers on Substack and YouTube, then 2,000, then 5,000, right? So have a goal and try to work toward it. Love it. Sterling, I like seeing you live on YouTube, but would like to see you back on TV too. Me too. Conversations are ongoing. I like being on TV. It's good for the brand. It's fun. If you know any people who run networks, let me know. Let's see. Stephen Williams, hummus on pita, easy, nutritious, and many flavors available. I like it. Leslie A. Hey, Chris. Hello. What is the motivator for a third-party candidate who can't possibly win to run for office? So a couple things. One, usually third-party people think they can win. They've convinced themselves of that, even though the data suggests they can't. That's number one. Number two, if you're not in that first camp, it's because you care usually about an issue or a set of issues that you feel are not being represented. And by running for president, you give voice to those issues. So whether that's the Green Party running on environmental issues, the Libertarian Party running on we need less government in our lives, that's where traditionally third-party candidacies have grown from. Like you want to highlight an issue that isn't getting enough attention, and being a candidate for president makes it more likely that will get attention than not being a candidate for president. If you're asking in regards like RFK Jr., I don't totally know. I don't see a path where he could win. I think it's probably that latter category where he wants to promote some issues, including, I would say, vaccine skepticism to the forefront, maybe try and make it on the debate stage. Just as a note, if we're going to have debates in the general election, and I don't think we will, but let's say we will, the typical cutoff point has been 15%. That you have to have 15% national polling, which he's a little below right now. So he wouldn't qualify now, but don't worry, because I don't think we're going to have any debates. Avery Neal says, congrats. I'll take it. I don't know on what. Maybe 20,000, almost 20,000 YouTube subscribers, 13,000. I know I've said that a lot, but thank you. I'll take your congrats. Let's see. Jason Vicente, I usually have fruit salad for breakfast and oatmeal for lunch. Oatmeal is pre-soaked steel cut oats, 3-minute Quaker oats in a low-fat half and half, then cooked in a small pot with a cup of milk. That sounds like a lot of work, but man, you are eating well. Avery Neal, do yourself a favor, eat a good breakfast, skip lunch, or have a piece of fruit, and then a good dinner. I probably should do that. I skip breakfast usually. I probably should skip lunch. Yeah. Okay. Pierre Holmes. Question. How do you think history will judge Trump and the Republicans who have enabled him for years? I feel history won't be kind to them. Also, how do you think history will judge Biden's presidency? So I'm not a historian. Breaking news. What I will say is that there was a poll of historians that came out earlier this year. I wrote about it and I made a video about it. That said Donald Trump, they rated Donald Trump as the worst president ever. There's been other historians who have rated him third worst, fourth worst. He's always in the bottom 5, at least in the things that I've seen. Does he care about that? No, not at all. Where does Biden rank? This survey that had Trump last had Biden 14th. It's hard to say because I don't know if Biden's going to win a second term. If Biden wins a second term, I think we're talking differently about his presidency, both because two-term presidents have more influence and more impact on history, and because I think he'll have more time to do stuff. I don't know the answer on if he's just a one-term president, if Trump wins. I do think that he's probably gotten more done legislatively than anyone thought, and that will probably help him in the long run in terms of how he's remembered by history. George Herbert Walker Bush is like that. When he left office, obviously Bill Clinton beat him. But 10 years after, 20 years after his presidency, I think more people are pro him in terms of what he did in his presidency. But look, I think Trump is, at least by the people who make these grades and these rankings, which tend to be historians and the like, he's going to be one of the 5 worst rated presidents. I just don't think there's any debate about that. Gary Bromberg says I should eat a veggie burger or an Impossible burger and a piece of fresh fruit. Okay, I like it. Paige Turner. I graduated from college a few months ago after dropping out in 1977 and serving in the Army, starting a new chapter at 67. That is awesome. Yes. So hold on. Let me, I for people who have watched these chats before, they know that I keep post-it notes of things that I want to keep thinking about. So there's a couple that I have that I want to show you. So here's one. This says, this happened. Now you get to respond. That's one. And then this one is, what can I do in my control today? So I think about both of those a lot, which is like, things are going to happen to you in life that you would prefer not happen. All of us. Happens to all of us. The issue is not, we can't make those things not happen. We can only choose how we respond to them when they happen. So I could have just given up talking about politics, writing about politics, and I could have just walked away, done something else with my life. But I love doing this, and I wanted to see if I could make it work. So it was like, well, okay, this happened to me. I wish it hadn't, but I'm still here. I still have thoughts. I still have a voice. How can I use it? And this is sort of what I've come up with. And that's a great example. It's never too late, right? You're going to have peaks and valleys in your life, in your career, in your personal life, in your professional life. Not everything is just going to be a straight upward. I mean, bless you if it is. You just have a straight upward trajectory. Everything is perfect always. Great. I would just say for most of us, that's not going to be the case. So how do we pick ourselves up, right? It's the thing I always tell my kids, not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up, right? The failure is not in getting knocked down. The failure is not getting back up. That's what I tell myself. Anyway, but yes, love it. Jeff Hawkins says, you work out. If losing weight is a factor, skip lunch altogether. Your body will acclimate itself to the change. I do think I need to skip lunch, and I'm going to work out right after this. So there you go, Jeff Hawkins. Boom. Kiro Lionever. Sorry if I messed up your name. Finally, Finally able to tune into these. Didn't know you had a sports newsletter. Would you ever produce audio video content on sports like you do politics? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to, at least at the start, I'm going to do video over at the replay, which is my sports newsletter. Again, scroll to the top of this chat. There's links to it. It's just the replaysports.substack.com. So yeah, I'm going to do some video content there. Definitely. Maybe conversations with folks. I think that would be fun. Like start a podcast and make it audio and video and run that. So, but if you have ideas, I love it. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry, I keep going. Keep it simple. Chicken taco. Just one chicken taco I should eat. Okay. Let's see. Just Diney, $2 contribution. Thank you. That's awesome. That's so kind. Do not skip breakfast, Andrew Anderson says. Shelly Winters. Okay, this is, let me get to this first. Running on empty. Hey, from Norway. Love Norway. Want to visit there. My kids love Erling Haaland, the Norwegian soccer player, striker on Man City. So awesome. Love it. But let me get to this. Shelly Winters. Not that Shelly Winters. Is Trump afraid to debate Biden? No. I actually think, I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. I actually think if you had to give them a lie detector test, Trump would want to debate and Biden would not want to debate. Or at least the Trump world, the Trump strategic world would want to debate and the Biden world would not. Why? Because I do think the Biden people are very worried about how he is perceived. Does he look like he's old? Does he look like he's out of it? Does he look like he can do this? And a debate, 2 hours or an hour and a half, is a really high tightrope walk with no net. So if you've noticed, since the primary effectively ended, Trump has repeatedly said Biden and I should debate. And Biden has said, well, we'll see. There's a reason for that, right? Some of it's strategic. They want, if they do debate, they want it to be more on Biden's terms than Trump's terms in terms of moderator and all that. But I think some of it is that Biden doesn't really necessarily want to debate. So that's my take. Just Diney says, don't worry, you look fine. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Pluses, positivity works. It does. Yes. Like, not to turn this into a self-help live stream, but yes, positivity helps. Just saying, like, for example, I see some of these people on YouTube who have 80,000 subscribers. And I'm like, man, I wish I had 80,000 subscribers. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I have almost 20,000 subscribers and I'll get there, right? If I keep doing this and putting out good content that people like, word will spread and I'll get there, right? Positivity. Eat an apple or rice cake when you're not hungry all day long. Oh, I like it. Let's see. Drink more water. That's good advice. Let's see. Last one. Loved your clip of Cher calling into C-SPAN. How did you track that down? So, yes, fun fact, Cher has called into, Cher the singer of Sonny and Cher, and then just Cher, has called into C-SPAN's Washington Journal, which is like their morning call-in show, multiple times in the 2000s. Once in 2002 and once in 2006. And she was just like, this is Cher from Los Angeles or whatever. Yes. How did I track it down? I knew it's like legend in like political nerd circles that happened. Yeah, it's amazing, right? I love being on that show. If you haven't read my thing about C-SPAN, I'll post it after the chat. It was free, so you can read it at any point. Do me a favor. I'm going to end this now because I got to go pump that iron. Do me a favor. Can you give me thoughts on this live stream? Feedback. Should it be longer? Should it be shorter? Is Friday at 1 p.m. a good time to do it? Should I do it every other week rather than every week? Should I do it once a month? Just throw that in the chat. I'll monitor the chat after I sign off. I'm just trying to figure out like what the right cadence is for it. I can probably go a little longer, but it has to have questions. I don't want to just talk. So we've got a bunch of questions, but I always could use more. So just think about that. Awesome news is we got over 200 and stayed over 200 people watching this for 45 minutes, which is absolutely great. Thank you. Subscribe to my channel, spread the word, scroll up in this chat, check out my politics Substack and my sports Substack. I think you'll like both of them. I hope you like both of them. And I will, of course, be making videos Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on my channel. And then I will be doing a live stream on Friday. So any feedback you have, let me know in the chat. I will check it out and I will hopefully incorporate it. More to come. Exciting times. Thank you all for your support. And please keep supporting me. Please keep spreading the word. I'm out.